Arkansas overcame their second hurdle of the early season, putting Little Bro Arkansas State in their place with a 56-14 victory over the Red Wolves in Little Rock. It was pretty much what I expected and wanted to see. My final score prediction was 52-17, so I'll certainly take 56-14. The Hogs showed a lot of good things and a lot of sloppy things in this game. Certainly still plenty of room for improvement, as you would expect in just the second week of the season. But overall, in my opinion, another very solid performance on a day in which the defense once again only surrendered 7 points. The other 7 came off of some poor kickoff coverage in which the Red Wolves returned one 98 yards. And offensively, although there were certainly opportunities to hang even more points on the board, they did still put up another 50 plus along with 630 yards of total offense. Taylen Green was good, but not as sharp as I wanted to see him. He was 17 of 26 for 239 yards, 4 touchdowns and 2 interceptions through the air. He also carried the ball 9 times for 151 yards and another touchdown. So it would have been a great performance, minus obviously the turnovers, but he was also a little bit slower and hesitant in his reads today. At times, he would see a guy open, and then it would be like he would almost take an extra look downfield to see if he could find a deeper option instead of just immediately taking what the defense was giving him. And against stiffer competition, he won't be able to get away with that as much. Also, I'd like to see him delivering some more timing throws where he's getting the ball out of his hands before his receiver even breaks on his route. But that said, this is a very new wide receiver room, and they're still building that chemistry, so I don't fault him too much from that standpoint. They have shown good chemistry at times, and that's just something that I think will have to continue to progress and grow as the season goes on. But what we've witnessed from the offense over these first couple of weeks is what we saw a lot of flashes of last season, which is when Taylen Green is on, when he's consistent, confident, and making the correct reads, this offense can be virtually unstoppable. And with the pieces that they've added around him for this season, I think that's even more so the case. I was very confident in the wide receiving room despite having so many unproven guys coming into the year. I haven't seen anything that would change my mind in that regard. Yes, there's been some drops. Yes, there's been some guys that I want to see get going a bit more, like a Cam Shanks or a Monty Harrison. We haven't seen a whole lot from the tight ends yet, but they are making some plays when their number is called. Yesterday, the Hogs showed more of what they can do in terms of running the football. They carried the ball 29 total times for 321 yards and 4 touchdowns. That's an 11.1 yards per carry average. Mike Washington Jr. hasn't gotten a whole lot of carries at running back, but he has certainly looked good with the touches he has received. Yesterday, he had a nice breakaway run. First drive, second play overall of the game. He took one 53 yards, I believe it was, for the touchdown. He finished the day with 9 carries for 116 yards. And Braylon Russell has looked good as well. I mean, he literally buried a Red Wolf at the goal line before powering into the end zone for a touchdown of his own. He finished the day with 5 carries for 25 yards. And then, of course, there's the offensive line, the big hog mollies up front. Through 2 games, they have looked much improved, in my opinion. Of course, you have to factor in who the opponents were, but they have been visibly much better in terms of protecting Taylen and giving him a clean pocket to work with, and have done a nice job opening up holes for the tailbacks. Defensively, I thought we showed improvement yesterday against the Red Wolves, whose offense I think is undoubtedly better than what they faced in Week 1 against Alabama A&M. But I do want to see more starting with our linebackers. That was supposed to be a position group that these coaches were heralding as one of our deepest on the team. And outside of Xavier Sori, I haven't quite seen that yet. I think the other guys have got to continue to do a better job in their play recognition, in meeting the running backs in the hole, in taking better angles to the football. I have higher expectations for that position group than what we've seen through the first 2 weeks. So hopefully those guys, which I believe do have talent, continue to show improvement next week. I think the secondary took another step forward, but they did still have some missed assignments, some blown coverages at times, and we're playing a little bit softer coverage than I'd expect from a group with so much size, length, and speed. But part of that could be in them just wanting to work on some things ahead of SEC play, which starts next weekend at Ole Miss. But I am liking what I'm seeing from some of the guys from that position group. Kenai Walker and Julian Neal in particular looked pretty good yesterday. Walker looking like a true lockdown corner and Neal just flying all over the football field. Larry Worth has shown some flashes, as I would expect. Probably the biggest disappointment among that group so far, and that's just because my expectations are high for him, is Jaheim Singletary. I thought he was going to be one of our best defensive backs this season, and he may still end up being so, but he definitely hasn't played to that level yet. I want to see him get going as well. Regardless, overall as a group, they must continue to improve on the back end. And then the defensive line, which is obviously, in most people's opinions, the biggest concern for this defense, especially in terms of depth. Looked like they had a pretty solid day, at least when you're talking about the starting four. They were getting some penetration and pressuring the quarterback on their own. The defense recorded 4 sacks yesterday, and that was all by Arkansas's defensive ends, Phillip Lee and Quincy Rhodes. So that was certainly nice to see. But obviously in SEC play and as the season progresses, you're going to need more than 4 defensive linemen. So I'll be continuing to keep a close eye on that group and the defense as a whole, as once again they receive a significant uptick in competition as they head to Oxford next weekend to take on Lane Kiffin's Rebels. I think it's clearly easier to be more confident in the offense to this point than the defense, but I believe that's what we all expected coming into the season. My personal expectation wasn't for the D to be great or elite, but I did think that they could be solid, that they could be good enough that we could win some games that we're not necessarily expected to. And although I still have my concerns with that unit, as I'm sure you all do, I still feel that way as of today. I certainly don't think they're as, quote, weak as some of the fans are making them out to be. Yes, they have shown weakness, but let's keep in mind that through 2 weeks, they've only surrendered 2 touchdowns. We're going to learn significantly more about this team against Ole Miss, but once again, as of right now, I like where they are, and I feel like they are where they should be. To this point, nothing has surprised me in a good or bad way. And in quickly looking ahead to next weekend's matchup, I will say, although I want to go back and take a closer look at Ole Miss's performance against Kentucky, I do feel good about the Hogs' chances of going into Oxford and walking out 3-0. That's my personal thoughts after the first couple of weeks of the season, but I'd certainly love to hear yours. Let me know in the comments section. And if you enjoy the content, please make sure that you're following and be sure to like, share, and all that other good jazz. Also, if you're looking for some fire Razorback merchandise, you can hit up the Rabid Razorback Fans shop at www.rabidrazorbackfans.com, where I have an ever-expanding inventory of Razorback-themed merchandise. As always, thank y'all so much for your time. Thank y'all so much for all the love and support. Until next time, I pray the good Lord keeps you all safe and blessed. And of course, go Hogs!